Okay, so now we've got these little keyboards there, so let's just take this as our starting point, and let's just keep that in mind for a little bit later on, and go into our program here. So I'm going to be essentially using VSCode here, and I'm just going to go in the program itself. So in VSCode, this is where I've got loaded up the BlueMicro BLE firmware. I've already branched into tutorial based out of my develop branch, and then I've checked out tutorial, the 4x4 tutorial. So what I'm going to do is going to create a specific keyboard just for tutorial and showing different examples. So let's just in here create my folder for the keyboard. So I'm going to go new folder. So I'm going to call it 4x4 tutorials, and I gotta make sure that it's spelled correctly. Tutorials. And then I'm just going to take an example here. There's there's keymaps that a folder called keymaps we need to create, and a set of folders for the different hardware configurations. So let's just first create our keymap folder here. So new folder. So it's keymaps. And then we're going to create, now if you remember on here, we've got a few things. So we've got the 4x4 backpack, the 4x4 backpack 52840, and then the 4x4 platform. So I'm going to create 3 different kind of like hardware configuration in our program. So in the hardware program, so we need 3 hardware configuration. So we're gonna go here, new folder. So the first one is the 4x4 backpack, and I do realize that there's already a keyboard like this, but for the tutorial I'm kind of recreating it, which is not a problem. Then we're going to create another folder for the 4x4 backpack, but it's the NRF 52840. So this is a different version. And then there's the 4x4 platform as well. So 4x4 platform. So we've got 3 different hardware configuration, and then the keymaps we've got right now. There's no keymap set up in here. So let's just go into the keymap folder. There's a few here. So let's just see what that numpad looks like. First, let's just minimize this. So we've got essentially a plain, that's very, very plain. So that's probably a good example. So what we're going to do is going to copy the numpad example here, and then copy that into here. Paste. So we've got the numpad. Now what we're going to do here is going to go even simpler. We're going to go no layer. So we're going to go, okay, so this is a plain simple numpad with no layers. What's usually in the corner there? KC dot. Let's just add another 0 here. So copy, paste, and I'm gonna essentially delete all of this. So there's no, the function does nothing. We've got this configuration for a layout. That's the simplest keymap, is a simple one. So we're going to go File, Save, and I'm going to rename this to, instead of numpad, is just a plain base, like nothing, like one layer. Then what we need to do is in their platform, in these three, we need to set up the three configuration for the hardware. So this is where we need to go to master here, and there we go. I've got some logic in here regarding the feather or the 156. So what I'm going to do is going to copy this from there, and then we need to paste that here, paste it here, and the platform, paste it here. Okay, so let's minimize this. So we've got the tutorial. So we've got three pieces of hardware. One is our 4x4. I'm going to call it backpack. Copy, and I'm going to go paste here. Paste and paste again. And this one, we can leave this as it is, because it's this configuration applies to all three boards. So, and what you can see is in here there is the device name, and this can it picks these different names depending if it's a master, a left, or a right. I'll get into that, but the master is what the configuration we really care about. And then this is like 4x4, and we need to decide which GPIO pin number, or not pin number, but GPIO number this is connecting to. So the rows is 25, 26, 27, 28, and then the columns are 29, 30, 2, and 3, and this is for the 832, which is for two of our boards. And then the other one, which is on the 840, is we go, it looks like 43 and 45 is actually port 1, so it's 32 plus whatever number, so that gives us 33, 43, 45, and the other numbers here. And then we go into, some of those have a pin for the a LED, which is a kind of like a PWM pin, and then the other one we have a pin for a RGB as well, and we can tell, okay, which pin number, how many LEDs do we have, and is it active or not. So this is what we have. Then the diode direction is either the direction of a diode in the switch, if it goes from the column to the row or the row to the column. Then the keymap, this is a macro that if we need to essentially reorganize the column in rows in some more logical organization. So for example, the Luddite's got 60 something keys, but we're using very much less GPIOs, so we needed to we couldn't go like 5 by 14 or so we had more like a 8 by 8 or some different number of GPIOs to minimize the number of GPIOs. So we needed a keymap macro to essentially reorganize where the rows and columns were lining up. But here it's just plain 1 for 1. In split keyboards where we have the PCB essentially mirrored, then what we'll see is between the left and the right, the keymap macro will essentially mirror the keys. So this is the configuration for one. So then let's go to the other one here. So this is the backpack 840. So let's just go paste and then just add just plain 840 there, so this way we make a difference. So copy, and I'm gonna go paste again, paste, and paste. Then this does not change, and then when we go to the platform, we have the 4x4 platform. So we copy, and then we go paste, and paste, and paste. So now I've got essentially the same configuration for all three, which is okay. If we need to make any changes, or if there's actually a keyboard that requires very different configuration because the microcontroller is different, this is a good place where we could actually do these changes of configurations. So we're going to just do a test build on this to make sure that there's no problem. So I'm on Windows, CD build, CD Windows, and then build PS1, and then this is the tutorial. So 4x4 tutorials in this case, and we're gonna go and it's gonna compile all of this. So what we're doing is we're doing the base keymap with the backpack as the hardware. Then the first one usually takes a little bit longer because it compiles a few more things, but then it's going to be able to reuse some of it. So we'll see now it goes with the backpack 840 and then the platform. But what it has done is a compile for all things 840. So we're gonna just make sure that we do a compile that is for the 840 as well. So what we do is we go minus nrf52 840, and then it forces a build of everything on the 840. And then we'll see it's going to compile fine for all three. And that's going to essentially complete the setup of the configuration for the tutorial. So let's just see how it finishes and then go from there. Okay, looks good. So what we're going to do now is just going to go and make sure that we check this in. So we're going to go git add our few files. So if we see git status, here's the new files that we've created. So we've got 2 files for the keymap, and actually we haven't got into the keymap any of the details. All the next tutorial videos are going to be on the keymaps. What we've done also is created 3 different keyboards configuration. So for example, a lot of times I've called master left and right, but now here in this case I've called it the actual names of the 3 boards where the actual chip is soldered on. So this is where the configuration is, and then we've compiled it. So and it all compiled fine. So these 5 files, now we can bring them in on our commit. So git commit, and we're gonna say tutorial to tutorial 1, setting up the base keymap, and what is that thing called again? And keyboard hardware config files. Okay, and then I'll be kind of doing a few more commits before I actually send it off to GitHub. So we're gonna keep going at this, but right now we're at a good transition point. So I'll see you in the next video.